How do you deal with regret? When you have regret about something, think it through in your mind. What is regret actually? What do you regret in life? It is a feeling that we all have about something that we are very upset about, some sort of action that we have taken that we know that we shouldn't have taken, or it could be an action that we did not take, that we wish that we did. Whatever the case is, when you have these thoughts of regret, they dwell on your mind and they cause a lot of problems for you because you're not able to rationally see the situation at hand here. Whether it be you acted upon something that was not of your best interest and made you feel really bad about yourself, or you didn't act upon it and you feel really bad about yourself. Well, why don't we discuss some ways of actually dealing with this feeling, because this feeling can be a very negative, disastrous feeling that we can have that really makes us feel like we're really not in control of ourselves. So think about some things that perhaps you wish that you never did in life. It could be minor things like day-to-day things, or maybe it's something a bit more serious, a bit more severe in nature, where you have regret about something that really changed your whole life. It changed perhaps your career path or something along those lines. Whatever the case is, just think about something that you have regret about, that you did not do. And just understand how you feel about that, how you feel your emotions. Now, let's think about a time where you did not do something and you regret it. You regret not talking to a particular person when you wish that you did, that you wish you had enough confidence to be able to talk with that person. Maybe you wish that you entered into a certain career path, or took a certain class in school, or that you wish that you finished school. It's a very similar feeling that you have when it comes to regret. You regret something and you feel it very deep within you, as if something that you're missing in life, something that is very, very negative, bringing you down, weighing you down, and you may be thinking about it every day. Or whenever you do think about it, it can be very debilitating for you. A lot of times, a lot of this comes down to what your perception is of what is right and wrong for your own life. Do you think it is the right thing to take the action that you did or didn't take the action that you did? Or do you think it's wrong to be doing that? Now, I think we all have a different definition of what is right and what is wrong. Of course, maybe we can agree upon universal things that are wrong and right, but then there will be people who make an argument about those things in their eyes is the right thing to do. So usually when I say right or wrong, it is very subjective in nature. There is really no such thing. So in your mind, you have created this idea of what you think right and wrong is, and you've built your life upon that. And if you don't conform to that, if you make a mistake, if you go outside of that, if you don't do something that you know you should have done, or you did something that you wish you didn't do, that comes back to the right and wrong narrative. Is it right or wrong to be doing those things? And you wish that you knew better. You feel very upset because you didn't know any better. You may have a lot of self-hatred even, that you didn't know any better. Well, ultimately, what I'm getting at with all of this here is that life is teaching you a lesson. Life is teaching you a very, very valuable lesson at this point in your life. That is what regret is meant to teach you here. It's meant to teach you a very vital lesson to move to the next part of your life. And if you're stuck on it, if you're dwelling on it, if you're saying, I wish I could have changed that, I wish I could have done that, you can't. You can't change the past. What is done is done. What you can do is learn to move on from that and not have that sort of regret. So, when you hear all these thoughts going through your mind about these things that you regret, start to calm them down a bit and start to rationalize, what is the life teaching me? What is the lesson that I must learn from this so I'm not repeating the same mistake again? And the lesson that you're learning, are you acting then upon the lesson that you've learned, or are you acting upon fear? Because that's also another crucial thing to bring up here. Because if you think that you have learned a lesson that life is teaching you, and you're acting upon fear to avoid that negative thing that you avoided before, that you perhaps did, you're trying to avoid that, then you really haven't learned any sort of lesson, because then you're acting upon fear. The whole premise here is that you have a clear mind and you're able to rationalize your past mistakes with how you are now, with the decisions that you're making now. So if you're not making appropriate decisions within your life, you're going to continuously have these feelings of regret and you're never going to learn anything. So it's very important to learn the lesson is, whatever the lesson is. Let's take, for example, here's just some examples that I've heard from other people when it comes to regret, or these feelings that they have. So let's say one person, they regret not finishing high school, or perhaps not even finishing college, for example. Okay, let's not even use high school, because yeah, I mean that is certainly a bit more problematic. But let's just say that they didn't finish college or anything. Okay. And perhaps they end up regretting it because maybe they feel as though it hindered their life in some sort of way. Well, they're not being thankful or looking at how their life is right now. Their life is a certain way right now, and perhaps there's certain people in it, there's certain things that are happening in it that are of their best interest, of their benefit. But they're not being thankful for that. Instead, they're thinking about something in the past that they think that they made a mistake on, but it was actually of their best interest to not pursue that, to not go that way. So instead of having a regret, they can embrace the situation and realize, I'm in a much better place now. I wouldn't wish that upon anyone else, because I wouldn't do that. If the person were to give advice to anyone else, maybe they would have positive advice to not follow in their footsteps of not completing school. Okay, so that is just one example there. Here's another example that I ended up hearing as well, which this is we're going to use the example of the fear mindset with this. So this was probably several years ago. Someone had said that they regret not, putting money into Bitcoin back in the day. And we're talking, that would be worth a lot of money at this point. Well, here's where the fear mindset comes into play. This fear of missing out. So is this person like, they keep seeing, the price and everything go higher and higher and higher, and they're like, I'm not going to miss out like I did before, and they put so much money in, risking way too much money, and then they end up, having this fear mindset, and it doesn't work in their favor. It ends up going down, and they end up losing a lot of money, and they just sell it off. It's like, gosh, I should have never done that. Just even more regret on top of that. So you have to be mindful when you're making a decision when it comes to regret and learning. Are you actually learning something, or are you making a decision based on fear? That is what you have to differentiate here. But once you learn the lessons that life is teaching you about regret, you will be in a much better spot, and things will be so much clearer for you in your mind.